Have you ever noticed that person who's barely on social media? No hourly stories, no mirror selfies, no quote dropping to rack up likes, and certainly no emotional oversharing for the whole world to comment on. Maybe they have a profile, but they seem to live at a different pace, as if they don't feel the same rush everyone else has to broadcast every single detail of their lives. And that begs the question, what lies behind someone who chooses silence amidst the constant noise of the internet? While many turn their lives into a stage, every meal, every workout, every win becoming a spectacle, there's a group of people who prefer to keep things to themselves. They guard their joys, their sorrows, their victories, and even the common moments of the day. While the entire world seems to be desperately screaming for attention, this person chooses something rare: discretion. But is this shyness? Is it disinterest? Or could it actually be a sign of emotional intelligence, of maturity, perhaps even a freedom that few manage to live? The psychology of silence. According to psychology, this silence isn't empty. It speaks volumes. It can be the expression of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, who found strength in their own quiet awareness amidst the noise, and the maturity to live without the constant need to be seen. Think about it. In a world where everyone is chasing visibility, choosing to be low profile is almost an act of resistance. It's like saying, I don't need to expose everything to exist. The truth is, we live in an era where everything must be shown. The plate of food, the outfit of the day, the gym session, the romantic relationship, the trip, the job. Even pain has to become a caption to drive engagement. It's as if life is only real if it's recorded on screen, validated by red hearts and quick comments. But is that truly living? Because deep down, many of those people who seem to have a perfect life online carry a tired soul, suffocated by the pressure of constantly having to prove something. And that's where the person who chooses silence stands out. Instead of spending energy trying to convince the world that they are living, they simply live. Identifying the low profile. These are the people who post little, expose themselves little, and seem indifferent to the need to showcase every second of their lives. At first glance, it might just look like disinterest or shyness, but according to psychology, there is something much deeper hidden in this behavior. Studies in behavioral and emotional psychology show that these individuals often possess powerful traits: a rare emotional autonomy, a firm sense of identity, less vulnerability to social comparison, and above all, a precious ability to live the present moment with greater depth. They are the so-called low profiles, discreet, centered, observant, analytical, and in a way, more whole than many who constantly seek external validation. They aren't busy trying to impress. They are busy living. And that detail makes all the difference, because in a world where every gesture seems rehearsed to become content, the silence of these people speaks louder than 1,000 stories a day. And it is precisely this silence that psychology invites us to decipher. What are the most common signs of those who adopt a low-key profile? What lies behind this silent resistance in such a noisy world? The 7 characteristics. We're going to explore 7 characteristics that frequently appear in this type of personality. And perhaps as you listen, you'll realize you carry some of them too. 1. Internal control, locus of control. The first is a strong sense of internal control. Low-profile people don't live chasing external applause. They don't need outside confirmation to feel secure or to believe they are on the right path. They are guided by their own convictions, their own principles. In psychology, this is called an internal locus of control. It's the feeling that your life is in your hands, not the hands of others. Those who have this trait believe their results depend on their own choices, not on the opinion of the crowd. This type of mindset naturally makes these individuals more resilient to criticism, more immune to social manipulation, and less hostage to public approval. While many get lost trying to mold every step to please the invisible audience of the networks, low profiles walk steadily because they know their own values. They understand that not everything needs a stage, that not everything needs an audience. They don't react to the external, they act based on what makes internal sense. 2. Healthy boundaries. The second characteristic is that these people value and practice healthy boundaries. And here is a crucial point. while so many cross their deepest, most intimate boundaries just to gain a few seconds of attention. Those who post little generally understand the true value of privacy. These individuals know that not everything needs to be shared, because not everything needs to be validated. There are things that are yours and should remain yours without needing the approval of others. This sense of boundary is like a protective barrier that prevents the emotional toll of overexposure. Low profiles build invisible fences around their own energy. They understand that exposing too much comes at a high price, an emotional, mental, and even spiritual price, and they simply aren't willing to pay that bill. They don't confuse visibility with value. They know that preserving their essence is more important than exhibiting it for empty likes. 3. Less social comparison. The third characteristic of these people is that they are less caught up in social comparison. And here's a hard truth. Social media has turned into a showcase. In it, everyone seems more beautiful, happier, richer, and more successful than they really are. But those who step away from this vicious cycle realize something liberating. Comparing lives is a game no one wins. Low-profile people who post little end up being less affected by this theater of appearances. They are not constantly measuring their own life by someone else's yardstick. This changes everything because it allows them to build their self-esteem from the inside out. Less envy, less comparison, more clarity about their true desires and real values. While many get lost in the labyrinth of appearances, trying to look perfect for an audience that, in reality, barely cares, those who live with more silence focus on being, not seeming. These individuals understand that every journey is unique, that there is no universal formula for happiness, and that living fully is worth much more than posing as a perfect person. 4. Emotional regulation. The fourth characteristic is that they are better at regulating their emotions. Think with me. Not every sadness needs to become a post. Not every anger needs to be dumped in a long-winded rant. Not every joy needs to be displayed like a trophy. Emotionally mature people can feel without the need to prove it. They reflect before they react. And this pause, this space between emotion and action, makes them more emotionally stable, trustworthy, and balanced. In dealing with others, their silence is not denial, but a space for processing. It's as if they use introspection as an internal lab to digest feelings. This emotional maturity is a clear trait of the low-profile individual, intensity without the spectacle. 5. Living the present. The fifth characteristic is that these people know how to live in the present moment. When you disconnect from the need to show, there is room left to simply be. Those who post little tend to experience encounters with greater depth. They savor the silence more, observe what is around them more, and enjoy true companionship more. While many watch their own lives through a cell phone screen, the low-profile person is there, present in body and soul. And this full presence is pointed out by contemporary psychology as one of the greatest indicators of emotional well-being. Even if they take a photo, they don't feel obligated to post. They prefer to keep it to themselves. And this awareness of the now is a rare form of freedom. The freedom to live without having to turn every instant into content. 6. Not trying to control image. The sixth characteristic is that they don't try to control the image others have of them. We live in an era where most people strive to look better than they really are. A filter here, a rehearsed pose there, a carefully chosen quote to give the right impression. But those who don't expose themselves as much don't live in this constant effort to mold their own image. These people have learned a valuable lesson. We have no control over what others think of us, and trying to control it is a direct path to frustration. They prefer to be authentic, even if it costs visibility, even if it costs approval. And through this authenticity, they often end up inspiring more than those who live, worried about their social performance. The low-profile person doesn't need to do personal marketing. They don't spend energy trying to convince others of who they are. On the contrary, their choices speak for themselves. And it is precisely this coherence between what they think, feel, and do that ends up inspiring, precisely because there is no effort to impress. They are authentic without having to shout authenticity. 7. Real connections. And we reach the seventh characteristic. They invest in real and deep connections. These people don't collect followers. They are not looking for easy likes or empty comments. Instead, they cultivate bonds that have true value. They prefer an honest conversation with a close friend over 1,000 superficial interactions on a post. This might seem contrary to the logic of our time, but social psychology confirms it. It's not the quantity of connections that increases our well-being, but their quality. It is the meaningful ties based on trust, respect, and intimacy that truly sustain emotional health. And that's why discreet people often seem more whole. They don't open the door to just anyone, but when they let someone in, that bond becomes genuine. For the low profile, connection is worth more than audience. A true hug is worth more than 1,000 likes. An eye-to-eye conversation has more power than any feed full of shallow comments. Conclusion. And fundamentally, this is the wisdom many are rediscovering. That real life doesn't happen on the screen. It happens in human exchange, in shared silence, in small gestures of truth. And if you identified with this profile, know that you are not alone. Perhaps right at this moment, there are millions of people like you who have decided to live with more silence, more presence, and more purpose. And this choice, which may seem simple, is revolutionary in a world that turns every detail into a spectacle. Being low profile is not an absence of life. It is intensity lived in depth. It is proof that the greatest freedom is not having to prove anything to anyone. And perhaps if you stop to reflect, you'll realize this path might be what your soul has always sought. If this video spoke to you in some way, if it brought clarity or sparked a reflection, I invite you to share it with someone else who also needs to break free from the prison of seeming. Because deep down, that's what truly traps us today. The constant need to show instead of live. Here, what matters is not the performance, not how many eyes are watching us. What matters is the depth, the dive within oneself, the courage to be authentic in silence. Because whoever is at peace with who they truly are feels no obligation to prove anything to anyone. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying until the end. If this content resonated with you, please leave a like. It really helps the channel reach more people. Subscribe to continue this journey of deep reflection. And if you felt this work truly touched your soul, consider becoming a member. This way, you directly support this mission of spreading more awareness and truth in an increasingly noisy world. See you in the next video, or maybe the one popping up on your screen right now. I'll see you there.